Hey, welcome back. Business 163, Personal Finance. We are now on video number 4 in our module on budgeting. And so we're going to introduce you to another budgeting method for you to consider. This is for those of you, quite frankly, who are very detail-oriented and more meticulous, perhaps. This is, as you can see from the title slide, the zero-based budget. The zero-based budget. Interesting term here. And the idea behind the zero-based budget is pretty easy to understand. Every dollar goes to work, as you can see here on this next slide, right? And so the idea of the zero-based budget and its advocates is to account for every single dollar of after-tax income. No such thing as an extra dollar lying around. That doesn't mean that every dollar that's left over gets spent on something, on some frivolous thing. No, it means that you're keeping track of every single dollar and making sure you know how each of those dollars you've earned is going to work for you. The whole idea is that the money has to work for you. So, the idea here is, first of all, you want to identify and create categories for everything you spend money on. If you spend money on it, it gets a category. Some of the categories will be pretty broad, as you can see, sort of like rent and utilities. But some of the categories may be far more granular. Rather than saying creating some vague category like fun or entertainment, right? You will probably end up creating categories under zero-based like going to movies, streaming subscription services, video game purchases, in-game video game purchases. You're going to create granular categories for every dollar and cent that gets spent. And the idea here, of course, any money left over needs to be assigned, because if it's not, chances are it's going to get spent carelessly. And so the idea is you are moving towards a place where you are not spending any of your income carelessly. It's with intent. It doesn't mean that every intent has to be serious, but even that the money that you are spending on leisure and entertainment, you're doing that intentionally, right? And so you can see the zero-based budget forces you to confront every dollar spent, because it's got to be categorized, which means there isn't a stray dollar, oh, I'll just get another another coffee, or I'll just, no, or you have to confront the fact that you are categorizing every dollar you spend. Now, that is, of course, as you might guess already, going to require a lot more detail and a lot more diligence than the previous method we talked about in the previous lecture, right? This is getting down to some very meticulous thought here. And here's an example. Zero-based budgeting example. Let's say for someone who has a monthly income of $3,000, that's after taxes, right? And so they're spending $1,000 on rent. How much do they want to spend on groceries? How much are they spending on eating out? What kind of bills are we talking about? What about insurance? Oh, they're spending money on gas for the car, clothing, some entertainment, an emergency fund, You see here, it's broken down, as well as setting up a fund for travel. And there's only $100 in other. Right? And so as you can see at the very bottom, every single dollar of that $3,000 in monthly income is accounted for one way or the other. And so that's really the spirit and the idea behind this. We talked about budgeting being what? Getting control of your spending. This is what zero-based budgeting is about, getting absolute control of every dollar spent. Now, what are some advantages of using this method? It prevents you from spending money that you don't have, right? Because you got to track every single dollar, right? And therefore, it really forces you to be organized and detailed. Another advantage of zero-based, of course, is very personalized and customizable to what you want to spend on. If it's something unique you're spending money on, then you create a category, right? This sort of method appeals to the detail-oriented type of person. And I know that there's some of you out there, right? If you are a detail-oriented kind of person, this is the method that might appeal to you, because it has the appeal of taking complete control of every dollar of your spending. All of those are advantages of the zero-based method. A disadvantage of the zero-based method, well, it requires a significant amount of work and detail. It requires commitment and quite a bit more initial work. It really, the zero-based works well if you use a computer-based app to help you out with this, by the way. And there are several apps out there that we'll mention in the additional resources portion of the module. There are some online cloud-based apps that are specifically designed to help you go zero-based. And so it is going to take some initial work that can be somewhat alleviated with some of the tools that are out there. You see this poor gal in the picture suffering from a little bit of backache from working so long on the zero-based budget. And quite frankly, this is a very difficult kind of a method to use if you are the type of person who has irregular or unpredictable income, perhaps because you make a fair percentage of your income from the gig economy type of income. This is really sort of works best if you have a stable level of monthly income that you can count on. Really helps a great deal. So those are some pros and cons then of the zero-based budget. It has some very significant and realistic strengths, and there are some financial gurus out there who really favor this as their #1 suggested budgeting method. Whether that's right for you, of course, is a whole nother decision, but there is our second budgeting method we're now introducing to you. All right, so we've got 2 down under our belt. We will see you in the next lecture.